Hey, have you ever wondered about the origins of Christopher Nolan? How he became the Christopher Nolan? From a humble English literature student to arguably the most influential Oscar-winning film director of the modern era. Okay, well, technically he hasn't won an Oscar yet.
Oh, wow!
But hey, it's gotta happen sometime, right? Right? See, Nolan is one of those rare directors left who can sell a film almost entirely on his name alone. 2023's Oppenheimer is proof of that, having gone on to reach over 950 million at the worldwide box office. What? Now, I'm not forgetting about the whole Barbenheimer thing, which certainly contributed to its success.
Just gonna pop into the library and see if I can find any books on trucks.
Okay, just don't get in trouble.
I won't!
But regardless, having a film almost reaching $1 billion without being part of a franchise is an insanely impressive stat. Seriously, this includes outgrossing the most recent Batman movie, by the way.
Supposed to go.
The IP which once propelled him to the forefront of the industry. It's kind of wholesome, to be honest. It's almost full circle, that moment when a director's name becomes a bigger selling point than the IP which once gave him his big break. So how did this director, who allegedly doesn't allow cell phones or chairs on set, become so great? Well, let's go back to the beginning, shall we? Not that far. We're talking university student Nolan, young student filmmaker Nolan, pre-Batman Nolan.
No, wait!
So ladies and gentlemen, join me in exploring the early days of the man of the moment, Christopher Edward Nolan. But first, if you'd be so kind, please flick us a like on the video and subscribe to us here at Visual Barrage. It really does help us out a lot.
You mustn't be afraid to dream a little bigger, darling.
Like all of us mere mortals, Nolan grew up inspired by Star Wars, 2001: A Space Odyssey, James Bond, Blade Runner, and yes, listening to Radiohead. Trust me on this one, I checked. But perhaps most influential was his time as an English literature student at University College London, which he chose specifically for its filmmaking facility. Graduating UCL in 1993, during his tenure he'd gone on to become the president of its film society. It was here that he would begin screening 35mm films and putting the money earned from the screenings towards creating his very own. Now this brings us to Doodlebug. What the hell is a doodlebug? Well, good question. In 1997, Nolan gave this very name to a quick 3-minute short film, and currently Doodlebug remains Nolan's earliest publicly available work. This little-known short showcases the early fascinations of Nolan. Doodlebug even introduces his signature metaphysical storytelling through dealing with perception. It's all there from the very beginning, his pursuit of high-concept ideas, his love for mystery, and exploring the constraints and workings of time. It's actually a pretty good look into the mind of a young Nolan himself. I'll leave a link in the description, but it's definitely worth checking out on your own. In the film, Jeremy Theobald, one of Nolan's early collaborators, plays a man chasing something in his apartment. It's soon revealed that the man is actually chasing a miniature version of himself, but every movement he makes has already been telegraphed by this miniature moments before, and when the miniature then slumps to the ground and smacks its shoe into the floorboards, the man does the same, crushing his miniature self. An even larger version of himself soon appears, crushing him as well. A continuous loop. Nolan's interest in loops, just like this one, and experimenting with time itself has been carried out throughout his career, only this version has some shoddy VFX. Tenet, The Prestige, Dunkirk, Inception, and Oppenheimer are just some examples where this very same basic concept of repetition and nonlinear time are used in Nolan's work. These themes have become staples of Nolan's directorial style, and here they are, these very same ideas implemented all the way back in his first publicly available work. However evolved and progressed these ideas may be now, whatever form they take, Doodlebug was Nolan's first attempt at exploring it.
See? Nobody home. Okay, first things first, we need to go back.
In 1998, Nolan stepped away from short films with his first feature titled Following. With a 1-hour runtime, this was a feature on a budget made with only $6,000. This thriller was designed to be as inexpensive as possible to make. Utilizing his non-linear approach to storytelling, Following depicts a young writer living in London, again played by Jeremy Theobald, who follows people in the hope of using their lives in his novels. However, he soon finds himself descending into the criminal underworld. Nolan has said that his own own real-life apartment being robbed heavily inspired the premise of this film. The film's structure once again plays with time, cutting between both past and future events in the narrative. Here, Nolan relied heavily on natural window lighting and rehearsed extensively to save money on expensive 16mm film stock. The shoot locations were also just the homes of friends and family, which greatly helped minimize costs. Heck, even shooting in black and white was a conscious decision by Nolan to avoid the need of color processing. The shooting process for the film took place every Saturday for almost a full year, balancing the crew's busy work schedules. Nolan himself was working full-time during this as a director of industrial and corporate films. Again, like his film screenings at UCL, most of the income he gained here from this full-time gig was reinvested into the film's production. Nolan would go on to create a film with following that would really solidify his craft and showcase his unique storytelling approach to audiences, and through achieving multiple awards including the Tiger Award at the International Film Festival Rotterdam and the Best First Feature Prize at the San Francisco International Film Festival, people began to take notice. Nolan credited having a script already written for Memento during Following's release on the festival circuit as a major factor in his initial success. For those asking about his film, he could simply discuss the project with them in depth, which really got momentum on his side. See, Memento actually started development alongside Following. Nolan's younger brother, Jonathan, who is actually also a screenwriter and director by the way, pitched it to him on a road trip from Chicago to Los Angeles. The idea followed an insurance investigator who suffers from anterograde amnesia and uses notes and tattoos to hunt for the man that he thinks killed his wife, the last thing he remembers. Loving the idea so much, the Nolans got to work developing the treatment. It was Christopher Nolan's idea, however, to flip the story on its head and tell the film backwards, which he felt would better convey the effects and scattered memory of its protagonist. You can kind of see where Tenet came from now, can't you? Aaron Ryder, an executive for Newmarket Films, saw the screenplay for Memento and went on to describe it as perhaps the most innovative script I had ever seen. Newmarket Films would then give the film a budget of $9 million and the production would begin. And from there onwards, as they say, the rest is history. I barely even need to mention it. As Nolan began receiving more work, he quickly began his rise in Hollywood. First with Insomnia, a really underrated film of his starring Al Pacino and Robin Williams, and then on to receiving his big break, being offered Batman, which soon went on to become Batman Begins. This quick ascension would be every director's dream, and somehow Nolan made it look easy. Nolan's journey from an aspiring independent filmmaker to a Hollywood director is not only one of luck and good timing, but also one of immense talent. His unique way of storytelling, his undoubtable originality made him stand out above the rest and make a name for himself. And when you also consider his love and passion for the craft, there really is no bigger fan of film itself. From Doodlebug, Following, and Memento all the way to now with Dunkirk, Tenet, and Oppenheimer. I hope this has provided you with some insight into the early days of the man whose films have helped define a generation. So from Nolan, whether it's a Bond film we're getting next or a romantic comedy, all I know is if you're expecting the film's time to be linear, you probably haven't learned a thing. Anyway, thanks for watching guys. I'll see you all in the next one.